What do we have to talk about? Programming, yes, programming indeed, but what specific aspect? Schedule. I know I'm a little tardy, but that's because I know that you can find all this info elsewhere on the site or elsewhere on the web. So I try to update the YouTube videos as soon as they're uploaded. But with this new scheme, it takes an hour, 2 hours to actually upload the videos. So I'm a little slower. We're supposed to talk about math functions. But I'll put the slides up, but they look particularly boring. So I'd rather do something else. I'd rather do your work for you. Firstly, I really want you to take the TUTs a little more seriously because there are many people who complain that they're struggling, and there are also many people who leave the TUTs. So the TUTs are where you're supposed to get the real training for this course. I mean, I'm trying to teach you how I think in class, but time is limited. So you need to struggle yourselves. And if the TUTs are the only place where you struggle, I mean, I know it's a struggle to stay awake while I speak as well, but a different kind of struggle in front of the computer. So I don't think I'll put up any more solutions. If you want the solutions for the TUT, please come and ask the demis if your solution is correct, or to tell you how to do it. So, yes. I know, but if you're struggling, you can ask, am I on the right track? Is this close? What should I add? All that kind of stuff. So if you want solutions, you'll have to work through it in the TUT. Also, you are particularly slow. It's like going to an old age home where people have just gotten computers from the 80s and have started programming. You take an hour to sit down and eat your bananas and start opening or rebooting the computers. It makes it more sad than anything else. So, let's do this. Let's write this little program because I want to show you, once again, how I think, which is not the only way to think, but I think it's kind of a good approximation of how a programmer thinks. So we're asked to do this assignment. Write a program calendar.java. Not going to waste any time in this TUT. My life is short. I'm young. I want to party. I'm going to start writing immediately. And even though I'm the world's slowest typist, I've learned my editor, so I know how to take a few shortcuts. So I don't have to type all that stuff again. Well, actually, I want to keep the main. Okay, fine. Write this program calendar.java that takes 2 integer command line arguments. I don't even have to know anymore. It takes 2 integer command line arguments. Int A is integer.parse int args0. I've typed this so many times. I'm saying to myself as a student, I could do this in, well, not in my sleep, but maybe like a trance. That denotes a year and a month. Okay, right, back. Month. Year. Good. Then print print a neatly formatted calendar for the month. Okay. Remember to take into account leap years. Okay. Okay, right. So I've got the year 2015, I've got the month too, and I'm supposed to print a calendar like that. Well, how am I going to do this? Well, I can easily print this calendar. I can just go system.println mtwt. System.println, lots of spaces in the one, system.println that. Easy peasy. Done. Only issue is that not all months start on a Sunday. Are you American? In South Africa, the weeks start on a Monday. It is a little strange, but that's how we do. That's how we roll. See, we are very Christian people here, and in the Bible, God started working on the Monday. That's what he said. On the Monday, God created the world. That's a direct quote from the Bible. And then on the Sunday, he rested. See? So, not all weeks start on a Sunday. So I'll need 7 of these little print line collections to print the week starting on a Sunday or a Monday, Tuesday, what have you. But then I realized this is also not going to work out perfectly, because then not all weeks, all months have 28 days. So I'll need one for each day of the week with 28 days, 29 days, 30 days, and 31 days. Also, I'll need a special calendar for, what was the year? Not 1652, was it? 1753. It's like September is 9. Okay, my mistake. Calendar, September, days. Just give me a sec. Google will help me out. 1752, 1 year back. Okay, fine. So here is September for 1752. It started on the Tuesday. The next day was the 2nd. Then the day after that was the 14th. 15 until. No, not at all. No, this is this is fascinating stuff. I could talk about this for hours. Just quick. Leap years come from the fact that the Earth doesn't go around the Sun in 365 days, but actually 0.25, actually 0.2315, and therefore Julius Caesar started with this idea of having leap years, and never mind all that. Pope Gregorius proposed this new calendar, the one we're using at the moment. Unfortunately, it required that if you switch to the new calendar from Julian to Gregorian, you skip a few days. And that is what happened in September 1752, when many countries skipped. Of course, some countries only skipped in the 1900s, in the last century, and they were still on the old calendar. And some countries, like Sweden, decided to skip, and then after a few months, it didn't work out for them, so they changed back. But when they changed back to a different date, so they were out of sync with everybody else again in a different way than before. This is just the jokey joke. Our calendar program won't be able to handle 1752 unless we program it specifically, but we do have this issue that not all days, all months have the same number of days. So if I draw my scheme of having 7 versions of the calendar, one for each day of the week, then I also need 4 versions of each of those. So I'll have to write 28 different if. So I'm going to do it a different way. I'm just going to use a for loop to print all the days of the month. I can use a for loop to print all the days of the month. Okay? So, a couple of things I'll need. I'll need to determine how many days in the current month, and I'll also need the starting date for a month. Okay? Starting weekday. So I'm going to write that code quickly. Int day equals first day of done. I'm not going to write anything else because I'm going to postpone implementing those functions for later. They're going to be mathematical functions that I define, and I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to carry on writing my main program just as I've always done, and that'll be that. So only thing to do is to actually print the calendar, and I'll do that quickly. Print calendar, day, number of days. If I want, well, I don't even know. There we go. Okay, right, program is done. This is the main part of my program. I don't have to stress about it, it's done. Now, I actually do have to stress about calculating the first day of a certain month. But that's a different kind of stress, and it's a small kind of stress. I've broken my big stress about writing this whole program into 3 small kinds of stresses. Just calculating the first day of a month, just calculating the days in a month, and just printing the calendar. So now I'm going to write those functions. Public static, that stays the same. I'm going to start with this one. Days in month. Days in month. Let's find a victim. Let's find a victim. I can only remember the victims' names. Kevin, Cullum. Yes, are those still your names? Good. And your name? You haven't told me before. But I don't want you. I want to find somebody who thinks they're safe, but suddenly discovered that they're not safe. What's your name? Yes. What? Devon. Like the county. Okay, Devon. Okay, excellent. Happy? Happy. Are you happy? Any mistakes so far? Yes, Devon. Were you in the TUT yesterday? Last Thursday? How did it go? Can I just look at your marks? You could, but let's not. Okay, so you're happy, Devon? Code's going to work? Apart from the fact that it's not doing much, what do you think I should do next, Devon? What do you what? Don't know. Oh, damn, Devon is not making it easy. He's not giving me much to work with. Okay, Devon, what I wanted you to say is that I have no idea what's going on in this course, but I know for a fact that you can't just write day, month. You must tell Java what these parameters will be. And I have to tell it it's going to be an int for month and an int for year. And did I get the return type of the function correct, Devon? What is days in month going to send back? This is not boding well for the test on Friday, Devon. I'll have to add I don't know to all my monkey puzzles, just so you can pass. I'm just dragging you up. Don't cry. Okay, fine. So we wanted to send back an integer. So I need to write a function that's sending back an int. It's called days in month, and it takes 2 parameters, a month and a year. Did I get it right way around? Month and a year. Okay, fine. So, Devon, what do I write? It's not over. The hell is just beginning. What do I write? Come on, Devon, please give me something. One thing, even if it's wrong. I don't know. Well, that's definitely wrong. Who sits next to you? Let's just see if we could. Who sits next? What? Benjamin. Oh, Benjamin, I know you. Well, who sits next to you? Sits next to you. Peter. Oh, Peter, you're going to have to speak up because I can't hear what you're saying. I'm a little deaf. Peter, what must I write? How are you, Peter, going to calculate the days in a month and a year? For example, if I tell you, how many days in February this year? Peter, I can't hear what you're saying, but it looks like you're saying, I don't want to play anymore. Okay. Who sits next to you, Peter? At the back of this column? Yes? What? This is a Gollum. What? Liam. Yes, Liam. What do I write next? Okay, Liam, you're too advanced. Let's find somebody who's just slightly dumber than you are. Okay. No, Liam is kind of correct, but I didn't want to go there that fast. What I really wanted to do is to say, okay, well, what I wanted Devon to say is, why don't you just send back 30, that's like on average, that's correct. Okay? We must be more specific. So I wanted Peter to say, well, it depends on the month. If it's February, 2, then I have to return 28. But we know that's not correct either. It depends on if month is, which months have 30? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November. Thus implementing the well-known rhyme, 30 days have December, no, 30 days have September. I don't know the rhyme. So 31 of all the rest. Okay, fine. Now, Devon's happy. Liam, happy? What's wrong? Okay, I have to check for leap years. And what I could do is just replace the 28 by a check. If it's a leap year, do 29. If it's not a leap year, do 28. But I actually want to turn this if statement around just because it's going to be neater. So this is a barometer. At this point, you must understand what I'm doing here and why I think it's neater. I'm going to put this first because it's nice and short. Then I'm going to say else if the month is not 2, return 31. Else, if it's a leap year, delete. So I move the check for February to the end. There I did my old check for 30 days. If it's not February, it's 31 days. And if it's a leap year, it's 29, else it's 28. Is everybody happy about that? Okay. Once again, I don't care about is leap year. I'll do that later on. Unfortunately, later on is right now. So I'm going to do this. Is leap year. And we all know how leap year works. If I just return false, I get. I can write this whole program and explain it to you, but I'm unsure about my own coding abilities because we all make mistakes. And especially if you're up close here, I get very, very nervous. Sometimes I sweat, sometimes I pee a little. I get very nervous in front of you and I make mistakes and I have to check this. So I'm going to just, for sanity, print all the variables I have so far. Year, month, and days. Okay, got my little program. At the moment, is leap year is just empty. It always says it's not a leap year. And days in month is supposed to work. Main reads it to command line arguments. And it just calculates the days in a certain month. So let's see, Java C, calendar. Yes, calendar is spelled with an A at the end. Year, 2018. Month, 1. 31 days, good. 28 days, good. 31 in March. April has 30. Let's just check. 31, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31. Ooh, okay. Never mind that. Let's just gloss over that. Okay, right. Leap year is broken. I know that. And I know, I'm not exact, well, I definitely know that 2016 was a leap year. But I think my program will still print 28 because I didn't implement leap year. If it does print 29, I'd be really surprised. Okay, right. So fine. So I need to fix that. Is here a leap year? A year is a leap year. Well, definitely. If a year is divisible by 400, it's definitely a leap year. Because every 400 years is a leap year. Thank you. I thought you were saying what I'm saying is true. Yes, thank you. Very much. Okay, all right. But every 100 years is not a leap year. Very odd, but if it's every 100 years is not a leap year. And lastly, every 4 years is a leap year again. Otherwise, it's not. You can combine all those in one statement, but I'm just going to combine the last two because even though this is fine, I think it's just as neat if we say, at this point, return that fact. So every 400 is a leap year, every 100 is not a leap year, and then if it's divisible by 4, it's a leap year again. I think we've done leap years before in class, so you know the complicated logic. It's not just every 4 years. And we're not taking into account leap seconds or any of that. Okay, right. Let's recompile. Say yes. I don't know. Can you? That's an old Peter joke. I mean, of course, Rivaldo. What's your question?
So we go back to the coding stuff?
Yes. Yes and no. Here, I put just an if, because if this was true, then it would have returned true immediately. This function would have terminated, and it would have never have gotten to this if. But let's just make a different scenario. Thank you, Rivaldo. This is a very beautiful question. I'm going to start off by assuming that the answer is false. It's not a leap year. Then I'm going to say if year mod 400 equals, or actually, let's assume it's true. Now I'm going to say answer equals true. Answer equals false. Doesn't matter what I say at the bottom. Now I'm in a different situation because if it's divisible by 400, that first if statement in line 6, in line 5 will be true, and it'll put true in answer. But unlike before, it doesn't stop the function. The function carries on. Return immediately terminates the function and sends back the value that you specified. But now, I'm just putting true inside the answer box. And the program carries on. Now it's asking, is this year also divisible by 100? Well, if it's divisible by 400, it's definitely divisible by 100. And now it puts false in answer. It overrides the true that I've correctly calculated for years like 2000, 1600, 1200. All those years were leap years. And that's why I put a true in answer. But there were also multiples of 100. So now I'm overriding incorrectly that answer. And that's all because I removed the return statement, and this code is actually carrying on. And now I have to put an else if. So that if it's divisible by 400, then it puts true in answer. Else, if it's not divisible by 400. So I'm not sure I have the energy or the time to explain this very, very clearly, but this is something you must grasp. If you don't follow what I'm saying now, please re-watch it on YouTube over and over and over until you either understand what I'm saying or you've memorized the words. Okay. Hit like and subscribe, and please give us a review on iTunes. Yes, yes. Your name is David. Is it? Robert, William, Christo. That's what I next guess. Yes. Christo? Okay. Baie dankie Chris. Dis 'n goeie vraag. Is die vorige weergawe verkeerd? In een woord nee. So wat nou hier staan is correct. Well, it's not entirely correct. Let me make it all correct. Else Right. So ek gaan dit in Afrikaans en in Engels antwoord. I'm going to explain this in English and Afrikaans. As it stands, it's correct. Dis regs as dit daar staan. Want maak nie saak wat answer aan die begin was nie. This doesn't matter really. It's working through these cases. And because it's if, else, only one of these will be selected. So net een van hulle word gekies. As dit 'n veelvoud van 400 is, gaan hy die antwoord true wees. As dit 'n veelvoud van 100 is, gaan dit false wees. En andersins gaan dit wees is here a multiple of 4. I hope you notice I switch back and forth between the languages in die middel van sinne. So, as it stands, it's correct. Net soos dit hier staan, is dit reg. Maar net omdat ek hierdie else het. Ek wou Rivaldo se vraag antwoord by explaining that if you leave out the else, it's going to be incorrect. It's going to put false in answer, and we don't want that for a year that's divisible by 400. Verkeerd, correct, but not as elegant as I think my return version. So I'm going to go back to that. Keer terug na die weergawe wat net returns het. Yes, Christo. Moenie my meneer noem nie. Dit klink so skolerig. Your Honor or Yaku. Ja, meneer Christo, ja. Onmiddellik, ja. Nee, dit gaan nie, want ek het uitgefigure hierdie jaar is 'n veelvoud van 400, so die antwoord moet true wees. Dit is 'n skrikkeljaar. Skrikkeljaar is gedeel deur 400 of gedeel deur 4 maar nie 100. It's a complicated rule to verbalize. Somebody else raised their hand. No? Okay, fine. You've accepted the inevitable. Krista, I'll explain more if you want, but I just want to move on a little bit. Maybe you'll absorb, gets back to you, or you get some insight later. Right. Fine. I've recompiled in the secret, and now that says 29 correctly, and the year 2100 is not a leap year, 2028, but 2400 will be a leap year again, says 29. Excellent. That's done. Oh, that is almost over. Okay, right. Days and month is fine. First day of month, really tricky, and I'll just do that quickly. So I'm going to speed up a little bit and say first day of int month int year. Now, there are two ways of doing this. Oh, probably many more ways, but two ways that I know of. One way is to use a secret formula that is called Teller's congruence. It's just a formula. You plug in all the values, month, day, what have you, and it tells you which weekday that date falls on. But I do not want to do that. I want to do it the hard way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many days between the first of this month and this year, between that date and some fixed date that I know. And I'm going to choose my fixed date as the 1st of January 1900, which was a, guessing?
Sunday.
Okay. I do not know. No, we don't need to know. That's the amazing thing. We don't need to know what day that was. I'll tell you in a second how we're going to do that. Right, okay, fine. So I've got to calculate the number of days between this date, 1900, 11, and month and year. So first, I'm going to count the years that have elapsed. I'm going to say total days starts off as 0. And I'm going to say y equals 1900. And then I'm going to say while y is less than the current year. So a whole year has elapsed or not? Well, 1900 has elapsed. I'm going to make it one more. 1901 has elapsed, 1902, and so on, until I get to 2015 has elapsed, 2016 has elapsed, 2017 has elapsed, and then y will be equal to year, let's say this year, 2018, and I'm going to stop. So for every year that it's elapsed, I'm going to add the number of days in that year to total days. If it was a leap year, y, then add, using my Smarty operator, 366, else add 365, and make y one more. Y starts at 1900. For every year that it's less than the current year, the one that I'm looking for, every year that it's elapsed, I increment y, but I also add the number of years in y. Sorry, number of days in y. And that depends on whether it's a leap year or not. When I reach exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, I know exactly how many days have elapsed from 1900 until the start of this year. And all I need to add is the number of days that have elapsed in the previous months. So if the month parameter at the top here was 1, January, no months have elapsed, no days have elapsed from the end of last year until the start of January. And I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to use the same kind of trick. If month was equal to 2, so 1 month has elapsed, month is 2, it's February, but January has elapsed. I need to add the days in January. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to use the same kind of trick. I'm going to say m starts off as 1, while m is less than the current month. I'm going to make m one more, but first I'm going to add to total days the number of days in that month that has elapsed. And I've already have a function for that, days in month, m of this year. You're very quiet. It's that part of the sermon in church where everybody is either falling asleep or the preacher is working up to his big climax. Yes.
What about before 1900?
Before. Oh, there's always one person in church that goes, "Oh, what about if she's not married?" Okay, right, fine. What year do you want to work from? Who's going to use this calendar? What are they going to use it for? If it's only going to be used in the future, then we have to don't care. But if it's going to be used days before 1900, obviously we have to make some kind of plan. Days before 1752 is particularly tricky because then it depends on the country you're in, on what day it is. Different country, different dates. In the same way that Christmas is on the 6th of January in Russia and all kinds of stuff. Christmas falls on the 6th of January in Russia. And da. Da. Let's see. I forget what it's called. Epiphany. So in our country it's called the Feast of Epiphany, but in Russia it's called Christmas. Never mind that. Right. When I reach exclamation marks, total days now holds the total days have elapsed since the 1st of January 1900 until the 1st of the month of this year. The total number of days. And weeks always work the same way. They cycle from Monday to Sunday. So if I take the total days and I mod by 7, I get the cycle where I am in the week. I didn't say that very nicely, but let's see what happens. I'm going to send back total days, mod 7. Yeah, details. Everything has to be perfect, otherwise Yaku's bad. Bad teacher. Oh yeah. Fire Yaku. Sign the petition. Yes. Been there, done that. Okay. 2018. What month is it? March. Okay, fine. Okay, let's see if this worked. It says that the 1st of March 2018 was a 3. Let's say 0 is let's say Monday, doesn't matter, who cares. Monday. 1 is Tuesday. 2 is Wednesday, that's what it's called. And 3 will be Thursday. And was the 1st of March damn it! Oh, that's a pity. Okay, well, excellent. Ta-da! It's like the magician suddenly saw the woman in half and the rabbit pops out. Ta-ta-ta-ta! Okay, right. Now, this is not what I'd hoped. I had hoped that it would have been wrong. In which case, if we're clever enough to know which day of the week the 1st of March this year was, and maybe you have a little calendar to look at, what have you, we could have adjusted that calculation. So that, let's pretend that the 1st of March was actually the Friday. Then what I would have done is it said, this actually gives me something that's 1 too little, 1 too small. So I'm going to add 1 to total days, and then mod 7. So I'm just moving that cycle along. And in some sense, I'm adjusting for the first day of 1900 being on a different weekday. Even though I didn't know which day it was, I can adjust until I get the right answer. Sorry, Justin, you were saying?
It starts on a Monday.
I have no idea, but I guess I could look it up. Actually, it started on a Monday. Yes. But I could have chosen any year. Let's choose another year. Let's cheat first and see. No. Let's take 1875. Okay, that starts on a Friday. So let's say I've chosen that for some weird reason. I start in 1875. I get rid of this cheat here. Well, I'll just make the 0, the 1 is 0. I compile my program, and I run it, and I find, oh no, my program says the 1st of March was the 6th, so that means a Sunday. But that's not correct. I know for a fact that it was a Thursday. So I am out by 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So I'm going to add 4 to this calculation. And now I get the right answer. This isn't cheating. Well, it's being very, very clever. No, it's not hacking. That's a very important difference. I'm not just wildly changing things in my code until it starts working. I have a good reason why I'm doing it like this, and even though it may be takes a little experimentation, I am working according to some profound principle. Okay, now I haven't done the most important thing and even the most exciting part, and I still have 10 minutes, so I'm going to quickly do it. If we have to sacrifice the Afrikaans summary, I know you'll forgive me this once. I'll do it next time. Okay, right. What do you want? Next year? No. I'll do it. I'll do it next time. Okay. Only thing left to do is to print the calendar. So I've got to print the calendar. I can't even recall what the parameters are. Oh. It takes a day of the week to start on and the days in the month. And I know I can start by printing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, that's done. But now I have to print all the other rows. And in fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to print them row by row. And I'm going to print them with 7 days in each row. I'm going to print 7 days in each row. I'm going to stop when I go over the number of days in the month. So let's do that. I'm going to say the current day starts as, well, 1. That's my current date. And I'm going to say while D is less than the number of days in the month. So I'm on day 1 of the calendar of the month. Let's say there. And I'm going to keep on going until I've passed the end of the month. But I've got to print row, row, row. So I'm just going to print this next 7 days. For int I is 0, while it's less than 7. I'm going to say print dot out dot print space and a D plus plus. And then I've printed the whole row of days, and I'm going to do a system out at print line. Everybody happy? No, well, shut up. I'm doing all the work and get no appreciation. It's beautiful. It's perfect. This is what I wanted. Okay? Small issue. My formatting is not perfect, but that's an easy fix. I just look in some book somewhere. Who knows? On the internet. Who knows what's going on? Okay, but you don't have to know that. It's advanced stuff. Advanced. Okay. There we go. Much better. Okay, all right. Couple of issues. I'm getting past the number of days in a month. So I shouldn't be printing those days. I should just shut up. So when I do this here, I'm going to say if D is less than or equal to the days in the month, then print D. Otherwise, just print a few spaces. Okay. Oh, beautiful. It stopped. Look, it stopped at 31. Okay. I see now that my heading is also not quite right. So I'll just adjust that. Surely, yes, surely. Surely not, I think. They're looking perfect. That's not the issue. The issue is that March starts on a Thursday, not a Monday. In fact, all the months that I try to print will start on a Monday. So I need to leave spaces, but how many spaces do I need to leave? Well, it's the number of days, so yeah. Let's try that out. I'm just going to hard code it just for January. Sorry, for March. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Almost done, almost done. You still have a few minutes. I still have a few minutes. There we go. Let's see if that worked. Okay, it didn't work at all. My natural instinct is to type print line, but this is what I should have typed. So what will happen if I just leave spaces in front of the very first day to accommodate for the fact that, see, and that happens. I haven't fixed it at all, I've just moved it across. I am trying to start printing on that Monday, but it's not the first. In fact, if you look at it closely, the Monday, well, the Thursday is the first, the Wednesday is actually the 0th, the Tuesday is actually the -1th, and the Monday is actually the -2th. So if I just adjust day, the date of the first day to be negative, this will actually work out. Look, if I just made d equal to -2th here, it's perfect, except just as at the end, I'm printing those days which I'm not allowed to print. So let's just change this. If d is greater than 0 and less than the number of days in this month, or equal, okay, that's what I want. Okay. And now there's only one more trick remaining, which I'm not going to show you. I think it's in the TUT solution. And that is, given day, but this week starts on a day number day. How do you calculate the date of the preceding Monday? I mean, if day is 3, we see that d had to be -2. If day is 4, it had to be -3. So it's not 100% straightforward. But I'll leave that to you and your ingenuity. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Most of you I'll see tomorrow. And remember, we have a test on Friday. If you haven't heard, there's a test on Friday. Also, the mock tests are open. All the answers are up. And you can see your scores, which are not as bad as they might have looked at first. So if you saw a score on Sunlearn, re-look, because they haven't improved, but the correct score is shown. All right.